আচ্ছা, আজকে আমরা হারোয়া মাকালগাছি এখানে এই অঞ্চলে যে এসেছি, আজকে আমরা কিছু গর্ভবতী মায়েদের কিছু পুষ্টিজনক খাবার দেব। তার মধ্যে আমরা শাকসবজি, দুধ, ডিম, নানান রকম ডাল, অনেক ধরনের আরও অনেক কিছু আছে, এইসব দিচ্ছি। যাই হোক, একটা সুখবর, এখনই একজন নিয়ে যাবে ডাক্তারের কাছে, হসপিটালে, ওরা একদম আসন্ন সময়। তা যাই হোক, আমরা যে ব্যাপারে দেওয়া হচ্ছে, তা যাই হোক, তার সুস্থ সুন্দর একটা সন্তান হোক, এটা আমাদের কাম। আমাদের মূল উদ্দেশ্যই হচ্ছে যে মায়েদের যাতে পুষ্টির অভাবে সন্তানরা যাতে রুগ্ন অসুস্থ হয়ে না, ভগবান যেন তাদেরকে খুব সুস্থভাবে পৃথিবীতে পাঠায়।
যেসব প্রসূতি মায়েরা আছে তাদের আমরা খাবার দাবার দিচ্ছি, সেই হিসেবে আপনাদের কাছে। হ্যাঁ, তোমাদের কিরকম মনে হচ্ছে যে এইগুলো দিয়ে? হ্যাঁ, খুব ভালো লাগছে। আপনার কেমন মনে হচ্ছে?
আপনার কিরকম মনে হচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ,
খুব ভালো লাগছে, এই যে দিতে পাচ্ছি, এটা আমাদেরই ভাগ্য। দিতে পাচ্ছি, এটা শুধু উইকেন্ডে।
Why do people want the things they want? An economist's answer would begin with a list of basic human needs, food, shelter, and so on. It might then discuss a particular good's scarcity, the dynamics of supply and demand, and how its consumption marks a consumer as a wealthy or important individual. Psychological explanations might also be invoked, but other factors also enter into consumption decisions. In the United States, retail sales, one of the most important measures of economy, peak around Christmas time. The economy of Turkey, where a different sacred calendar reign, would not have the same periodicity, even as basic a human need as food is infected by cultural factors. Thus, the Spanish conquistadors, when they first arrived in the New World, believed that even though there was an abundance of maize, games, fruits, they were being starved since they could not obtain mine, wheat, olive oil, elements they believed to be essential to be a healthy diet. In the case of conspicuous consumption, people want things so they can show they are not like anyone else, or at least not like most people. But as good advertising executive can tell you, the sale of things ranging from clothing to cars is driven by consumers' wishes to signal that they belong to same groups and do not belong to others. Consumption does not come naturally then, but is something we have to learn, and what one society learns to value might not be same as what other society learns to value. A good example of this involves what we might call, following Alfred Gale, exotic consumerism. John was giving one of the mixture friends who had been living in Tennessee right back to Mexico in John's car. On the day they were to leave, the friend showed up with 3 television sets, a hairdryer, a chainsaw, a gasoline lantern, 2 boom boxes, a microphone, a sundry other electronic equipment, all used and most of it not working very well, if at all. After spending quite some time trying to fit the load in the car, John turned to his friend in frustration and said, "I can't believe you want to bring all this junk back with you, especially since your town doesn't have electricity." Later, when John visited his friend's house in an isolated area of the Mixteca, he saw all those items in the house, with most of them set up on table and shelves almost like museum pieces. These were meant to be artifacts of the man's travels, and they were meant to display his ability to consume Western electronic gear. 6 months later, John gave the same friend a ride back to the United States. This time, it was John who filled up the car with pottery, box paintings, woven rugs, oven rugs, and blankets, straw baskets, and papier-mâché figures. His mixtec friend, after spending 8 hours balancing a large pot on his lap, got out of the car and, using almost the same language John had used 6 months earlier, said in frustration, "I can't believe you thought all this junk to bring back with you, especially since you never use any of these pots for cooking." Money and markets. Money, as Cindy Lauper reminds us, money changes everything. In politics of reciprocity and exchange of simple societies, the economic value of a transaction is subordinated to the social relationship created by the transaction. In an important sense, such transaction is as unique as the individuals entering into the exchange. Bronislaw Malinowski observed the Trobriand Islanders engaged in a elaborate ring of exchanges with other Melanesian islanders. Thereby, individuals traveled long distances to exchange specific kinds of goods with lifelong trading partners. As the term circulated in this ring, the history of the transactions and of their previous owners circulated with them, so that each exchange and each object acquired a unique life story. Money and market changes, the foundation blocks of modern economies, have precisely the opposite effect, and quite deliberately as so. Reducing values to a common standardized convertible standard immensely increases the efficiency of exchanges, both in speed and volume. When the token of exchange has no intrinsic value in relation to its worth, as in the case with paper money, then the transition of exchange to an abstraction is almost complete, and newer technologies such as electronic fund transfers complete the process. Money is sometimes taken as an example of what Anthony Giddens has called the disembedding mechanisms that constitute the dynamism of modernity. By turning value into symbolic tokens produced and managed by expert systems, money erases the local particularities of production and exchange. But before we slip into another one of those traditional more modern dichotomies, keep in mind that this transition is not as complete as we might assume. Modern currencies like primitive valuables are also symbols. The dollar bill, for example, portrays an epical ancestor. George Washington uses ritual language. Latin makes references to the original Federation of States that gave rise to United States, and repeatedly invokes God. What it does, and most currencies do this, is symbolize the strength and stability of the state that has issued it in an era of huge trade deficits. The dollar's high exchange ratio relative to other currencies only serves to underscore the fact that value of currency is based on trust and perceptions. Moreover, in capitalist economies, many forms of restricted use money exist, such as subway tokens, gift certificates, coupons, and food stamps, which are often used with the warning that it is illegal to convert them into other currencies. Why do people want the things they want? An economist's answer would begin with a list of basic human needs, food, shelter, and so on. It might then discuss a particular good's scarcity, the dynamics of supply and demand, and how its consumption marks a